UFC 266 just recently wrapped up, and these glasses are to hide the tears for the loss of Nick Diaz, man. But on a real note, it was super disappointing seeing him catch an L, especially the way that he went out quitting after the knee injury. Overall, though, we had a fantastic card. I can't wait to break every fight down because there's so much to talk about. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you are new here. This is the full post-fight breakdown for UFC 266. Let's get into it. Every fight on the card. First fight, Jonathan Pierce, Omar Moraes. The wrestling game for Jonathan Pierce was way too much for Omar. Could not really consistently stop the takedowns. Couldn't get his strikes going off. He was outmatched on the ground. Wasn't close there. Pierce submission. Second round. Good performance for Jonathan Pierce. He moves forward in this featherweight division. Claims that he had an injury in that Lozon fight and he should even be 3-0 in the UFC. I mean, he's looking good. I'm excited to see the future. I mean, he's not even 30 yet. Definitely arriving into his prime now. And I do think some interesting fights on the horizon in the featherweight division. Moraes over 35. I think he'll stick around and have some fun striking matchups. Certain matchups they need to give him. He can't be fighting guys with really good grappling games. But at 35, I don't see him making a run towards a title. Win for Jonathan Pierce to start the night off. Next fight of the night, Matt Semelberger destroys Martin Sano with one straight punch, and it was over. The way that Sano was like squared off and open. The shot was right there. Semelberger saw it immediately, put him down in 15 seconds. The fight was like that. It was starting, ready, boom, done. Fight over. Sano had nothing for him. I thought Sano wouldn't have much for him, but he had absolutely nothing. I thought maybe he would last a bit longer. 15 seconds. Semelberger hits really hard, especially with his straight punches. Semelberger is going to be a fun guy to watch in this welterweight division. He's young. 28 years old. I'm excited to see the potential that he has, and only lost to Chaos Williams in the UFC. Nothing to be ashamed of there. Next fight of the night, Nick Maximov put on a pretty good performance against Cody Brundrage. He's super young, man. 23 years of age. Really good Brazilian jiu-jitsu skill set, good wrestling, was able to out-wrestle Cody, who's a pretty solid wrestler, D2. Nick Maximov is the real deal, man. Nick Diaz Academy has somebody to keep an eye on for the future. Just 23, who knows, man? We really don't know where Maximov could go. Could work towards that top 15. He's very young, though, and I think he needs more fights against other younger or less skilled guys. You can't rush this guy up. I don't even love the idea of a Roberson fight. I think that might be a little bit too much of a jump. Keep it towards the back end of that middleweight division. Lesser known guys, maybe a guy who's 1-2 in the UFC or 0-1 in the UFC or 1-1 in the UFC, something along those lines from Maximov next. Brundrage, tough fighter, went forward at the end. He'll be back. Fun little UFC signings. Definitely a guy that will be in the UFC for a bit, also still in his 20s. Next fight, Jalin Turner and Uros Medic. What a performance for Jalin Turner. The underdog turned up. He got Medic out of there. Beautiful boxing. Was able to push the pace, hurt Medic. He out-wrestled him as well. Showed good grappling skill set. The ground game is real now for Jalin Turner because he controlled Medic there and then he chokes him out. Win by submission for Jalin Turner. He moves forward in an interesting lightweight division at 6'3". He's a factor. There's somebody to watch, and he's 26. So much potential, and he already almost has, what was this, his 16th pro fight? Lots of experience. I'm excited to see Jalin Turner's ceiling. Medic will be back. He's still a young fighter, just his 8th pro fight. Next fight of the night, Taila Santos and Roxanne Modaferri. Okay, so with this fight here, super interesting matchup. Taila Santos on one side is a dominating top control type of fighter, and that's exactly what happened. Really wasn't the most interesting of matchups. Roxanne had absolutely nothing for Taila Santos when the fight got to the floor, when the fight was on the feet. As we kind of expect with Roxanne, she's outmatched against better fighters. And that's what clearly happened there. She was outmatched against a better fighter. Taila Santos for the victory, beats Roxanne Modaferri. Very good performance there by Taila. Exciting prospect in that flyweight division for the ladies. Next fight, Chris Daukaus knocks out Shamil Abdurakhimov. Beautiful boxing. Next level. He knocked him out twice. The spits flying everywhere. What a great finish. Dropped him bad in the first and nearly stops him. Could have stopped, depending on the ref. And then next round, drops him beautifully and does a little bit of follow-up with ground and pound. Mark Smith steps in, calls the fight. Chris Daukaus moves forward in a very interesting division. He says he wants either Volkov, Tybura, the loser, I think, of Gan and Ngannou maybe, or Stipe, somewhere along those lines. I don't think Stipe is the fight. I don't think that it's going to be any of those guys. Maybe Tybura. Actually, probably Tybura. I could see that matchup. Maybe Volkov, but more so leading Tybura. Chris Daukaus is a problem. Abdurakhimov, he's an okay heavyweight. I'm sure he'll be back, but this is the Daukaus show, and he's a hot prospect in that division. Next fight of the night, Dan Hooker, Nasrat, Haqparast. Good performance by Dan Hooker. Showed new tools, grappling. Was able to out-wrestle Nasrat, outstrike Nasrat. Had Nasrat going backwards the majority of the fight. Dan Hooker looked incredible. One of his most technical performances to date. The grappling skill set on this kid is real. He gave Dustin Poirier hell. You can't sleep on Dan Hooker in this division. I think he's going to move towards another potential top contender type of fighter. I think that he's really a good striker with an evolving ground game, and I'm really excited for the New Zealand fighter, Dan Hooker. He's 31. He's been in the UFC for a long time now, had a featherweight run, moved up, and has looked fantastic at lightweight. Nasrat will be back. 26 years of age, tons of potential, and he trains at TriStar. He'll be back, but this matchup was just too much for him. The next fight of the night was a crazy-ass featured prelim. Marlon Moraes, Merab Dvalishvili. Marlon nearly has him out, has him hurt badly. Like, it looked like Merab was done. He's running away, gets dropped. Somehow, Merab survives, gets top position, is able to get some ground and pound off, and it looked like Marlon might have been out on his feet, out on his back in that first round. And then the next round comes up, Merab gets it to the floor, and Marlon had nothing. It was like 100-something strikes to 0. You had to call it when you did. Thankfully, Merab got the victory. The ref stops the fight. What's next for Merab? The sky's the limit. He's a very interesting prospect at bantamweight. His chain wrestling style would give people hell, and the man refuses to lose. Even when he's out, he's still alive, and he beats Marlon, and I'll be honest, Marlon now, he's dropped a few in a row. I think it's 3 straight, and really it should be 5 straight if you include the Aldo controversial win. Might be the end of the magic Marlon Moraes' time at the top. And he's not necessarily chinny, but he's getting stopped a lot. Merab, real shit. Super excited for the future. Next fight of the night starts the main card off, and if you haven't, smash that like button. Much love to everybody tuning in. Subscribe if you're new as well. Jessica Andrade destroys Cynthia Calvillo, ran her out of the ring, ran her out of the cage, whatever. It was just dominant boxing skill set. Calvillo had nothing, threw a couple straight punches, but it was just Andrade hurting her with shots, and then came with, her crazy barrage of punches, gets the stoppage win. Calvillo had nothing for her. It was completely one-sided, as expected. Former strawweight champ, and then, top 6, 7, 8 type contender in the strawweight division. They just happen to fight at flyweight, a year or so later. I think Andrade needs to drop a weight class. Get back down to 15. I think she could challenge the winner of Zhang and Rose Namajunas' rematch, even though I know Claudia Gadelha Carla Esparza is right in the mix as well and probably deserves a shot. Andrade might be able to steal one because Andrade is the real shit. Maybe she fights Esparza. She had an easy fight here. I could see her being back before the end of 2021. Super exciting matchups on the horizon for Andrade. Calvillo, more of a back-end girl at the flyweight rankings, but still going to be beating a lot of the girls in the division. Next fight, Curtis Blaydes, Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Cautious effort by Curtis Blaydes, but you cannot blame him. Jairzinho crushes his eye with a flying knee. Threw some good punches. Blaydes had his moments with straights. Jairzinho Rozenstruik, unfortunately, didn't have the grappling game. Was able to get back to his feet, but not much efficiency as far as when he was on the ground. No submission attempts or anything like that, and still has some little mistakes he was making. Like at the end of the fight, he's locking himself in the half guard and not sweeping Blaydes, not escaping from Blaydes' positioning. He couldn't get out. Curtis Blaydes is the real shit. Dominant wrestler. I don't think he beats Gan. I don't think he beats Ngannou. I don't know. Maybe he could beat Derek Lewis, but I doubt they do a rematch. I don't know what is next for Curtis Blaydes. We'll see what the UFC wants to do. He's in a very weird situation. Jairzinho Rozenstruik on the other side, you got to give him Derek Lewis. I want to see that fight. Jairzinho Derek Lewis is the fight to make. That would be a fun striking match. Next fight is the featured bout of the night, and it was a fantastic war between Nick Diaz and ruthless Robbie Lawler. They threw down in what was one of the most fun fights I've ever seen. Back and forth striking exchange. Diaz let go of crazy strikes. He starts the fight off with a wheel kick. Robbie Lawler hurts him with some body shots, body kicks, good pressure from Robbie. He did not stop. He lived up to the ruthless name. This man was relentless throughout the night. And he breaks Nick Diaz, really hurt him with some punches in that third round, mainly the hook. Diaz goes on a knee. Robbie follows with a little bit of an uppercut. Diaz goes back, but it didn't perfectly land, and then he quits. He says his knee's done. I don't know. It doesn't seem like Nick Diaz loved being in there. I think he got his moment. He came back. He got to test himself again. Don't know if we'll ever see Nick Diaz again, but man, I love Nick Diaz. Even in defeat, he's a legend of the game, and if this is the last time we see him, I'm glad I got to call one of his fights with predictions and, the post-fight breakdown here. Robbie Lawler on the other side. I don't know how long he's going to stick around. I think keep giving him fun striking matchups. Maybe they do Diaz and him 3 somehow. I doubt it, but I wouldn't be shocked. Robbie Lawler could definitely be marketed into like how Conor McGregor sent out a tweet, the OG League. I definitely think that's possible. Nick Diaz, maybe he returns, maybe he doesn't. Don't have a specific matchup at the moment. Robbie Lawler, don't really have a specific matchup either. I would have said maybe you do the Condit rematch. Condit's out of here. He retires. We'll see what they do. He beat Nick Diaz, but he didn't beat a ranked guy. Hopefully they give him a good, fun striking match. Next fight was our co-main event. It was Valentina Shevchenko killing Lauren Murphy for 4 rounds up until the stoppage. There was no competitiveness throughout. It was either Valentina outstriking her or wrestling her, taking her to the ground, and out-grappling her. Great performance by Valentina Bullet Shevchenko. I really feel like she is, the most dominant champion of the females. I mean, I guess Amanda Nunes too. It's a very weird situation because Valentina's running all these girls over at 125. She fought she fought Amanda twice, losing twice. Maybe a third fight's in store at 135. I wouldn't be opposed to it. Valentina said she'll take whoever they line her up with next. That women's flyweight division has Manon Fiorot, who's an up-and-coming prospect to get excited about. Outside of her, not that many names. Nothing really popping to mind. Lauren Murphy, and granted, she's not ready for the title shot yet. Lauren Murphy sent back. I don't know what will be next for her. I still think she's going to be a tricky fight for most girls in the weight class, but she's not beating Valentina. Valentina's here. All the other girls are about here, and she got ran over. Great performance for Valentina Bullet Shevchenko in dominant fashion. Defends the title the 6th time. Alexander Volkanovski, Brian Ortega. Guys, smash that like button if you have not yet and subscribe. Turn on the post notifications if you guys are new to the channel. Much love to everybody tuning in. But yeah, smash the hell out of the likes. Alexander Volkanovski, Brian T. City Ortega. What a sweet main event. What a great fight. You can tell in the first round, the striking's going the way of Volkanovski. Nice low kicks, good boxing. Starts putting it on Ortega, getting some dominant positions on the ground as the fight goes on. Gets off some ferocious ground and pound and definitely hurts Brian Ortega, cracking him with punches on the feet. Ortega's like a zombie. The man doesn't stop. Ortega nearly gets him out in a guillotine, nearly gets him out in a triangle, and that guillotine was locked. Most guys would have tapped. Volkanovski doesn't quit. He kept spazzing. Ortega said that he heard him gargling. The man does not quit. His head's turning purple. He's not going to tap. He'll go to sleep before he taps out. I thought the fight was over. He survives, gets out of it. And then, 4th round, more dominance, but Ortega's still surviving. And in the 5th round, I think you could possibly give that round to Ortega. Great boxing. Turned it up, had like this crazy turnaround. It looked like Volkanovski finally started feeling the fight towards the, that last minute. Looked at the clock at like 26 seconds. Great fight. Great fight. Volkanovski defends the title. He is the real shit, but Brian Ortega is a savage. He's 30 years of age. Is him being a champion realistic? Maybe not, especially with Volkanovski and Holloway towards the top of the weight class, and I don't see them leaving unless they move weight classes. It's a hard road for Ortega, but I think he beats a ton of guys, and you're not going to break this guy. You're not going to stop this guy. Brian Ortega is a man of steel, the true Mexican heart, the iron chin. I want to see Volkanovski Holloway 3. I know Holloway's fighting Yair. I think he'll beat him. Ortega, he'll be sent back fighting someone towards the top, maybe even somehow a Calvin Kattar fight, something along those lines. I don't know exactly off the top of my head if Kattar has anything booked at the moment. I feel like Alexander Volkanovski could make a run at 55. I would like to see him, especially if he beats Holloway a 3rd time, jump that weight class and try to challenge. I think that would be really interesting. I know he's undersized for it, but why not? Give it a shot. I mean, whoever the champion is at that point. Volkanovski deserves more fans. He's an entertaining fighter. He's skilled everywhere. He's physically an absolute specimen. What a damn performance by Alexander Volkanovski and what heart by Ortega. Both guys savages. Great main event. I cannot wait to see both of them again. Sweet fight. If you're going to give my performance bonuses, I guess you'll have to go I'm going to give it a double fight of the night. I'll say Volkanovski, Ortega, and Diaz, Robbie, Lawler was fight of the night. Performance of the night bonus. Kind of got to give it to Chris Daukaus by the KO. If we're going old school, sub of the night would just be thrown right to Turner. But honestly, Daukaus and Semelberger should split. I think for these pay-per-view cards, especially with the way everybody really delivered here, just throw out a ton of bonuses. Bless these guys with a lot of money because they really deserve it. Because these guys are putting on absolute shows, and especially with fans back, that's what you need. I loved hearing the fans. Overall, fantastic card. I hope you guys enjoyed this post-fight breakdown as my hat goes fully sideways. We're changing the style here. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you are new here. We'll be dropping the UFC predictions on Sunday, so make sure you guys check those out. Bellator predictions as well. Dana White's Contender Series, pre-fight show, and predictions. Much love, everybody. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and I will see you all in the next video. Have a great night, everyone.